a little prince, and the daughters have to serve him.
Yeah.
He gets to do what he wants, and the girls doesn't get to do what they want.
Yeah.
So he gets a feeling of entitlement, and he feels he is higher, and that everybody and everything else is lower.
Yeah.
So he feels so powerful. And a lot about abuse is power. Mothers, we make a mistake when dealing with our sons.
Yes, we do. We do.
Definitely. And we also, mothers have to also teach their daughters.
Yeah, to respect.
To be respectful.
Yeah.
So it's both sides of the coin that mothers have a role to play with the sons and the daughters. Therefore, raising children and then young adults who would be ready for relationships.
Yeah, yeah.
And I add something as well, based on with my sister. Now, looking back, one of the things that I observed is she would have had some low self-esteem. And so I too would encourage, parents to be mindful of speaking life and teaching their children self-worth, because sometimes abusers will prey on people who they seem to not be so sure of themselves. They don't know what they're really about. I don't think I'm beautiful. I don't think that, I'm liked by people. And so that is an area that is I think is used to as a place of abuse. You're fat, nobody will like you. Look how you're looking. That's one of the things I remember hearing my mom say. He would tell her bad things about herself. Nobody don't want you. You understand? It's I here who handling you up and doing everything for you. We're family, we're your friends, and that would have probably played on her self-esteem. She didn't see herself as as worth anything.
Yes, and that's why I really love when daddies tell their daughters, oh, you're beautiful.
Yes.
Let them hear it from daddy first, so when the boy is down the road, throw a line at her. She say, I'm accustomed hearing that, man.
Right.
Come better than that.
Right.
But because they're not hearing it, when they do get it from any, willy-nilly all over the place, they want to grab onto it. And so we leave room for this to happen.
Yeah.
But Arlene, what advice you have for fathers?
Fathers need to really teach their sons and also their daughters, because, daughters really look up to their fathers, Kathy. So they have to, if the fathers model the right thing in the home, the daughters will know what to look for in a husband.
Good.
And then when the fathers teach their sons now how to respect and honor mommy, how to respect and honor sister.
Yes.
When it's birthday, buy something for sister. Buy something. Little things we have to teach our sons. They will go and do it with their wives.
Yes.
Or whoever they are courting. If father is raising the voice at mother, and this is the mother that the son is seeing, he will do the same thing.
That's right. That's right.
So fathers have an important role in the home.
Yeah.
And we have to train our children from young.
Yeah. And there is something to fathers, I feel, have to do to teach the son that you don't have to be tough.
Yeah.
We always come this way, you have to be tough. You have to be tough. Just tell it. It's easier to say you have to be strong.
Yeah.
Character. But to be tough means you're just money, and you could be aggressive. And so we don't want to leave aggressiveness as the pattern.
Yes.
For someone to go after. But more strength, inner strength, to form character.
Yes.
Fair enough? And then we'll pass on to schools. What is the responsibility of schools? We're looking for solutions.
We want teachers to really help the parents too. So the parents doing it, and the teachers helping the students to know that, one, respect others in the classroom. Say, starting with the classroom. When they respect each other in the classroom, they will go out and respect each other in the community. They will respect others
True.
in their own home.
That's right.
And also we want to bring awareness. Teachers must bring awareness. you know, and talk about abuse.
Yes.
And let them know it's not acceptable in any way at all.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's not a subject, but bring it in social studies.
Yeah. Teach about emotional intelligence.
That's right.
It's okay to feel. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Because you're hurting.
That's
but
right.
we always tell the boy, come on, there's a boy, sit down.
Yeah.
And the girl cry and they give her a napkin to wipe.
Yeah.
So he bottles up and he bottles up and he bottles up. So when he gets older, then, you know, it's so much happening with him, with pent-up emotions over the years. You know, so it's something for us to be very, very careful. So it's okay for a boy to feel and to express himself, and these things should be taught in the schools, and we should teach them to respect each other.
You know, we said that this is a live, and we want you all to call in. So we want to open the lines now. Remember, the number is
791-9693.
And we want you to call in, share, make your comments, let us know what you think about the topic and what we have said so far. So we are waiting. Who will be the first caller?
Okay, while they are calling, we want to talk about even the church. The church, NGOs, community groups.
Yeah.
They also have a part to play to contribute to children's life, even from Sunday school, to teach the young boy in school. He's hitting the girl, call him and says, no, 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 no. Teach them from preschool. To when they're pinching the girl or whatever. No, 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 no. Teach it from early. Honor her. She's a girl. You know? So it's very important, I think, that these are things that should begin from a very, very young age. Yes. All right?
I'm seeing here where Ingrid Charles Johnson, who is a teacher, said it is a subject. VCCE?
Uh-huh.
So I guess they are speaking about it. Thank you so very much, Ingrid.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Anybody else? Any other comment?
No, not. My system just came back.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we want to speak about the government. What can the government do? What do you think?
I think the government has to start in the communities. They need to start within the communities where they will talk. We having a call? Okay.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
On the topic of essentially building up your daughters and building up your girls. I am a teacher and I teach a Form 1 class, and I remember last week or yesterday actually, my student asked me, she said, Miss, do you find I'm looking terrible? Because we had Indian wear day in school, and I said, what do you mean? She said, well, her mother told her she looked terrible this morning after she put on what she had on. And, you know, she's in Form 1, so she might ask me as a teacher, but as you get older, of course, you will look for that approval from somewhere else. You might go to a boy and say, but this looks so bad, and you're looking nice, you're looking real good.
Yes.
You know, and that's an easy way that you might fall into that trap. So I definitely think it's very important to build up your daughters and to give them that approval from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fantastic contribution.
Yes.
And to see that is happening right there. At that age, it's so, that's the framing years.
Yeah.
And at that age, 11, what you will tell her, you look terrible.
Yeah. And remember, she wants to feel good. She's looking for some validation.
Yes.
You're young, you want to say, come out, you're looking good. And we have to remember, as parents, be careful what we say.
Yes. Parents, remember that our words, they have life.
Yeah.
And it could follow that child through and lead to so much mistakes, many mistakes that child could make along the way. So let's speak something positive. Help her, fix her clothes, and tell her she looks lovely. That smile on that face, but not only the smile on the face, the esteem get a jolt. A positive jolt. So she going to school hopping because she's feeling good. So when she reached the school and somebody said, you're looking ugly, she said, I don't care about you. My mother told me I'm looking good. So let us start from the home front to build up the esteem. So it's like a force field. So when that child reach out there to face the world, all that is coming is just bouncing the force field and bouncing off. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
I would like to speak concerning young men and coping.
This sounds like Joram.
Yes, this is Joram.
Go ahead.
I am the.
Hi.
But yes, concerning young men, and I remember someone in the chat during the first stream had said something about coping mechanism. Silence and blaming, someone blaming themselves is a coping mechanism. I've had a lot of conversations with males that I know. A lot of them feel as though there's no one they can go to and no one they can talk to. Obviously, females, oftentimes they have stronger relationships or more relationships, I would say.
Very true.
But a lot of males, they feel as though there's not many people they can go to talk to about their problems. So eventually, they just have a bunch of guys that really scratch the surface level of issues. And the only people they really talk about things with is their best friend, if anyone.
Yeah.
A lot of men, especially in Trinidad, are growing up without fathers now.
True.
So that continues to increase. I find we need a lot of mentors, especially Christian mentors, because really we need mentors and we need proper father figures everywhere. But a Christian upbringing is the best thing.
Yes. Thank you very much, Joram.
Thank you, caller.
We appreciate it. He said, there are some things that he said that stood out to me. And one is, many of the people don't have fathers.
Many young men.
Yes.
Many of the young men don't have fathers to mentor them to be a good young man.
Yeah.
So they wherever they get training, they take it.
Yeah.
So if they grow up a little stray, they end up within a gang.
Yeah.
And whatever is this one say, boy, I slap up my girl, boy, she too slap when she says something. Yeah. That's the influence that you are getting. When really it should really be from a father who is teaching his son how to be a good young man.
Yes.
Yes, he really brought up some serious points there, really. That is definitely so. And our young men, another point is that our young men don't they don't speak. Because think about a young man sharing with his friends that something is happening to him. Think about a construction worker. He is going on his job to talk and tell his friends, my wife hit me. He's a construction worker. He would never say that because ego, pride, I feeling shame. You will say I'm a bubbly. What they will say about me. So I hide my secret and I go with that.
Yeah.
Whereas women,
we talking.
Men are different. You know, you will ask a guy, how was the wedding? Oh, it was good. You ask a girl how it was. She was nice. The bride looked nice. If you see she dressed, or if you see for that suit, that is, we talk. We express ourselves. So we'll go and tell our next one, he hitting me and you're crying. But the guy is afraid to say that, and society has created that, where men stay and hurt quietly. Thank you very much, Joram.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Remember the number is on the screen, 791-9693. We are waiting to hear from you.
Yes.
Ingrid is saying that the VCCE is value, citizenship, character, education.
Okay. Good to hear. Well, I'm glad to hear that there are programs being instituted, and I guess it will take a while for it to show itself, actually showing up in society, because it has to be ingrained now in this generation. Yes, we have a call coming in.
Go ahead, caller.
Solana.
I will say education on the level of not just the general warnings of abuse. I think having people come out more and talk about personal experience which makes a difference.
Yes.
Other than that, I think in the law. Because you may get advice one way, and then when you go to another authority, they're advising you against what you should have previously been told.
Thank you, caller. That is so true.
Thank you very much there. Thank you very much there. So she's actually showing um, discrepancies in how you know the different ministries or whosoever how they different. This one may have something different, and that will also have something different, and it puts the abused person who is seeking help at a disadvantage because there's no correlation of it's not coming together. All right. So it's something that we really had to one of our solution for the government to address pass laws to improve on the present system. If you could really dig deep and see what needs fixing. And a lot of suggestion, probably they should have more consultations where actually persons who are abused and actually facing the legal situations, where they could say what they are dealing with so that things can be put in place to help them.
Yes. And we had another caller who was trying to get through. We wanted to say to call back.
Right? Can I recommend one as well?
Go ahead.
Based on what I too would have observed with my sister, sometimes the victims, they may be scared to speak up on their own. And so it might be a neighbor, it might be a good friend, it might be a relative. Probably the government could put something in place where you can contact this particular group. And probably someone from that group anonymously, they get the information, call as an anonymous person, and you go to the home and probably, check it out, or, look into the matter.
Okay, we have a caller.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good afternoon.
I just want to talk for a minute on an expression used particularly in our country. And that expression is, I just minded my own business. I would have discovered that a lot of people who would have been abused over the years, other persons should have known about it. Yes. They would have seen signs, seen behaviors. But they just simply said, I just minded my own business.
Yeah.
Until sometimes that person ends up dying, is been injured, and it is only then you'll be surprised to see how many people come out now to speak and say,
yes, true.
I used to see, I used to hear, but I was minding my own business.
Yes.
And I want to say on this forum that we really need to become other people's people. And be strong, be bold enough to bring it to somebody's attention who can intervene and lend assistance to male or female.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Thank you,
caller.
Much, sir.
When Curleen spoke, the caller took what I was going to say. When Curleen spoke just now and she mentioned neighbors, I wanted to say, we have to be good neighbors. Where we hearing something happening in the house, don't say, you know what, I don't want to be the neighborhood Marco. It's not that.
You're
hearing it.
Yes.
And let us observe and see and help.
It was a neighbor who brought the news to my mother that my sister died.
You see?
Wow.
A neighbor brought the news for her.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, my dear. Good evening.
Hi, I was calling in because I was looking for what it is you're receiving, right? And one of the things that I think can really help is, like, okay, my mother was abused by my father when we were younger. And two things I wanted to say. She went back home, right? And her brothers and so on was there and supported, and my grandmother allowed my mother to come back home then with her children. And that was a source of support for my mom. But one of the things that happened is that my father came, he had changed, and they had.
Did we lose the caller? Okay, caller.
Abusing our sister.
Okay.
Could you repeat what you just said? We missed the last line there.
I said that when my father came back home, came back and said that he was sorry and so on, and that he wanted to make up for what it is he had done, and he wanted a chance again. So my grandmother and my uncles and they allowed him to come back home. And when he started back the same thing again, in that he started back to abuse and so on. And I remember as a child, when I came home from school, I saw my mother was, swollen and bleeding and everything. And my uncles and they stood up to my father and told him they were not going to allow him to continue to hit my mother in this house.
Very good.
And so they told him he had to leave. And I really had appreciated that my uncles and they stood up for my mother. And my father had to leave if he were to continue with that sort of behavior. So really and truly, like what it is they call it before said that somebody can stand up. And I thank God that my uncles and they stood up for my mom and stood up for my sisters and I.
Wonderful,
Paula, we really appreciate this.
Yeah, sharing.
Because sometimes, men, they could beat you as a woman. But when a man show up,
yes,
that same man who had all that mouth for the wife, two brothers show up, one alone, they're quiet. So it is good for the abuser to know that you have somebody in your corner. So that's why we want to say to those who are being abused, do not isolate from your family, you need them.
Yes, and you know what that stood out? The young lady who was killed in Mearo, I think it's 2 weeks ago. Her brother said he waited until my father and I left. Because they understand that they were protecting her. So he was waiting. So although she died, I still want to encourage daddies and brothers and to stand up and be there for your sister. Don't say, well, you look for that. Be there for them. That's a very, very serious point. Another thing I got from that caller's contribution is when the abuser comes to beg you with a little story, be careful of your binding, take quickly. There's no counseling taking place. There was no rehab taking place. There is no change taking place. You just want to come back for next go at it. All right? So be careful with this story. It's sounding nice. I change, All right? We have a caller.
Hi, good night.
Hi, good night.
I want to say first of all that I am enjoying the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to bring an awareness to mental abuse. Sometimes we look so much, or we pay so much attention to the physical abuse. The abuse that we see, or we're seeing the blue or black marks on the hand or on the neck or wherever. But we forget that there is also verbal abuse, mental abuse, where you don't see that abuse, you don't see any marks, you don't see anything that could, go to the police and let them see how you're looking. You don't see those things. And it's very critical for both men and women, that we identify that there are a lot of people out there who are tolerating, who think they're not good enough, who think that what the other party is saying is true, you're crazy, you're foolish, you're stupid, you're just like something else. And we don't realize that these demeaning sentences, phrases, they play a great part in who we become, because we have a low self-esteem, especially as a woman. We tend to believe that is who we are, that, I will never become things better than what he is saying about me. And I think we need to bring more awareness to the mental and the verbal abuse as much as it is. Thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
point.
Thank you, Carla. Very good point. In our last two episodes, we did mention verbal, non-verbal, emotional abuse.
Yeah.
And you are quite right, because sometimes it's easy to see a bruise on your skin, but what about when you are mentally and verbally and emotionally abused? We can't see that. We need to pay attention. And sometimes, especially I'm talking now, concerning Christian home, um, you may not be physically abused because they know of the back. No, don't beat my wife. But sometimes even in as Christians, you can be mentally, emotionally abused, Katian.
Yes.
And so we really have to pay attention to that.
And it's only about 2 days ago, Ali and I were talking about how not we believe that every physically abused person has been verbally and mentally abused.
Yeah.
Because it starts somewhere,
Yeah.
calling them some name,
Yes.
demeaning them, breaking them down, and then eventually that's hitting them.
It's
But
cut off.
not everybody who is verbally abused may be getting physical abuse.
Yeah.
But every person who has gotten physical abuse, it came from somewhere where you started to say things to demean the person.
Yeah.
And that is one of the entrance, to start to break down the person. And when you got, when you feel that gives them a power over you, and it's from then hands start to fly. So,
Yeah.
Caller, you are so true. It's not, you can't see this that easily. Some people see it, because some people after being verbally abused, things happen with them physically. You see them looking kind of down and depressed, and they realize something is happening. So it's really a terrible thing because it affects the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kola.
Paralyzed. You become paralyzed in your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the line is open. We have a few minutes again, so you can call.
Kathy, while we're waiting for the other call, one way women abuse men is verbally.
Yes.
With their mouth. We have strength in our mouth.
Yeah.
And the Bible talk about a nagging woman.
Yeah.
Woman, we could really abuse our husband every time we have something to say and quarrel about.
Yeah.
And we telling them, you're good for nothing. What am I there for?
Yeah.
You can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
The money you're giving me can't do nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we really abuse the men, and because they may stay quiet, we keep doing it over and over and over. So we have to be careful that we are not verbally abusing
them.
the male in our lives.
Yeah. So very true, huh?
Yeah.
Very, very true. We hear, we have a contribution here. Also, education and boundaries is important. Teaching at the school level and even in the home, the importance of setting personal boundaries. Victims of abuse tend to have unhealthy and even porous boundaries.
Yeah.
All right, that's from Solana. And that is true. If early in a relationship, as you start, something happens and the person starts to step out in some ways from early. Hold up, that wasn't in the plan.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries early, but it even shouldn't be set when you're married. While you are dating, boundaries are supposed to be set as to where we are going with this relationship.
Yeah.
Where there is no boundaries, there's freedom to do anything.
That's right.
So true.
Very good point. Very good point. Yes. So, and we have Eliashib saying, setting boundaries will definitely set you free. All right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm seeing here also where Anella McIntosh spoke about parents sending back people who are abused to the marital home, telling them to try and work it out for the sake of the children.
Yeah. True, true.
And we see that happening in where parents really, they want the best for their children, and they see the best as staying in your marriage. It's a covenant, and we understand that. But if they are being abused, especially physically, where it can cause death, we don't want to encourage them to stay for the sake of the children, because you hurt the children when you stay in an abusive situation like that.
Yeah. Very, very true.
I remember I had another relative who chatted with me because she was also a victim of abuse. Where she said she remembers going home to her mom and telling her mom, this man mistreated me, he beaten man, and the mom tell her, pray and, go back, you know, go back, you have your children, go back. And she told me, she said that was one of the biggest mistakes that she made, and it resulted in her. I remember I was actually there for that situation where he beat her up in Port of Spain, in a maxi, beat her, and again, there's nothing that you could do because you're young, and a cousin and I were looking on, you know, really beat her bad, and she was saying, that was one of the mistakes because she wanted her marriage and she wanted it to work, so she was willing to fight, and then mom telling her, go back, forgive each other and go back.
Yeah. And we heard one of the callers speak about it earlier, saying that one of the things that she practiced in the abuse relationship was always feeling he is going to change.
Yeah.
He is going to change. Just give him a little more time. Let me give him my next chance.
Yeah.
And he will change. Don't fool yourself, people. People don't change just like that.
Yeah,
Some kind of intervention must take place.
I'm seeing where Liana Fifield is saying, yes, all kinds of abuse is abuse. And she said, leave and live.
Yes.
Powerful point.
Yeah.
Leave and live.
Leave and live. We like that, Liana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, agree. Totally agree. Now, we were speaking about, feel free to call in. We are speaking about the programs that we feel, because we're all about solutions. We don't only want to just talk about the problem.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about what the government, we hope that they can do to make a difference. All right, if you have any ideas, please call and say. But one for us, we're looking at training police officers how to deal with reports of domestic violence and how to deal with the abused persons themselves. Because as we said earlier, we've heard reports where they laugh at the men and send them skating out of the station, and we've heard reports of them telling the women, oh gosh man, you come to complain again, go back now, you're a little stiff, or you go back and make up. Sometimes you don't even take the report. So that eventually, when the person is killed, it has no report in the station, but the person went down to the station 6-7 times to make a report. But because, I don't know if it's that they're not taught to see it as something serious, and that there's compassion should be taught from the police service aspect. So we think training is necessary with police officers. Agree?
Yeah.
So if you have any solutions, please say. Yeah, Aline, also to implement programs in the community.
Yes, that's important.
Parenting courses, couple courses, free counseling. Everything shouldn't be about money. This situation is out of hand now. And free counseling to be offered, we think that would make a difference. But this free counseling must be done in a discreet way, because again, the ego and the pride of a man saying, I'm going to get counseling because I abuse or because I am abused. It is, it's something you want to hide. So we should create that space so that people can go to receive counseling. We think these things would really help if we have family life, anything with men empowerment. Yes, and you may say, but why are you speaking so much about men? Okay, the women have to be empowered in loving yourself and stuff like that, but we want our men to be empowered. We want our men to be empowered in the area of knowing that they are worth, and that the person that they love, they are worth something too. And to treat with each individual, treat with your mate in a respectful manner. Anything?
As we bring this show to an end shortly, please remember, if you still want to call or write your comments, we want to hear from you. I'm seeing where they are saying on the live here that training of officers, Katian, is absolutely necessary. They turn people away. Same thing you were saying. So people are agreeing with us, and one person is commenting and saying the tone and the attitude that come across, they are doubting the person at times.
Yes.
And imagine you are in this situation and they are doubting you.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to look at that.
Yes.
And can I add one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure,
Remember
of course.
we were chatting um, some time ago, and we were saying stricter penalties,
Yeah.
for people who are perpetrators of this crime, because what we have seen over a period of time too is that people, they seem to not be afraid of the law. They're not
Yes.
afraid of the police.
Yeah.
So a man will say, I remember a lady telling me herself, who was a victim of abuse, where a man almost severed her hand. And she said he would threaten her before. And yes, she made her reports and stuff like that. And one of the things that he said to her, he said, well, if you're in there, I will go to jail, stay the time. And when I come back out, I will make sure that you're dead.
Yes.
And so, sometimes stricter penalties, because these people think, I could beat up somebody or I could do them whatever. I'll just go in jail.
Yeah.
I'll sit down. And then after a while, I'll come back out. And when I come back out, I'll finish
Yeah.
the job that I did.
Yes. Yes.
So when they bent on saying, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. But if we have stricter penalties for people who do these things,
Yeah. And quick
it
too.
will deter them. Yeah.
Quick.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Brenda Bob is saying that a friend of mine was being abused and she went back to her parents' home. Her husband went to her job and stabbed her to death, then tried to kill himself.
Yep.
So we have to really, really be careful, and we want to, all the solution we give, Kathy, and we are hoping that someone here today, one person, two person, that you listen to what we have to say, that you
Yes.
speak to someone, that you, if you are an abuser, that you repent, that you change, that you go and you get help.
Yes.
Because this is what this is all about.
Yes.
We just want people to do better, get help.
Yes.
If you are the abuser, to stop. Sometimes you cannot do it on your own, but get
help. Yes.
Get counseling. And we
Yes.
want to say to the victim, you too, get help.
Yes.
Speak to yourself. Know that you are worthy.
Yes.
And that you are made by God, and God loves you. We love you. There's other people who love you. Stop believing the narrative that nobody else loves you and you have to stay in this situation.
Yes.
We want to say, get out and pray. Leave and live, according to Liana.
Yes. And I want to say to us who are looking on, that we become more community-minded when it comes to persons who are being abused. And let's stop the "it's not my business," because it could have been your daughter.
That's
it
right.
Could have been your sister. Let's take a keener interest in what's happening. There's some where we wish, there are places we could call.
Yeah.
So let's find out what we can do.
Yeah.
And let's play a part, but let's not just turn a blind eye on domestic violence.
Yeah, thank you. And we want to thank
our
guest, Curly Nelson. She did a great job, and we want to thank her for coming and sharing this personal story of her sister. And Curly, we are really sorry, that we didn't get to meet Emily. Yeah. And, Emily didn't probably get to see her children get big and things like this, and we are really sad. But we hope that sharing her story, that Emily, even in death, will help somebody change.
Yes.
And that, Emily, although she's dead, she can still help somebody. The story can really, really speak to a young lady right now, a young person. One, listen to your parents.
Yes.
And two, don't do it.
Yes.
Look at the red flag. So, Colleen, we thank you.
Thank you very much, Colleen.
We had a good time. All it wasn't one of those cheerful good stories, but we thank you for coming on and sharing it. And we know that somebody have heard and change will come.
Yes, I want to encourage you all to share this episode with someone who you may be going through a situation, or even young people coming up who you don't want to bounce their head like Colleen's sister here, who felt she was so madly in love and wasn't listening. So share it with others, because there are consequences for disobedience and for not listening. So we want to thank you all for being here with us, Aline.
Yeah. And see you next time on
Azar.
Bye.
Thank you.